Hello everyone, welcome to another training section on Age Fashion Hub. During the last class, I taught you guys on how to cut a simple wrap office skirt. So if you have any question concerning that, maybe you're doing your own cutting, you have a question on how to cut or doing the sewing aspect, you can drop your questions on the comment section. Then if you want to join our free online training that is going on fashion, you can click on the link below. So from that link, you will be able to direct you and add you up on the WhatsApp group. So welcome you to today's class, where I'm going to teach you guys on how to cut a blouse with bishop neck. So now we move on to the practical aspect, where I'll be able to show you guys on how to cut the bishop collar, on how to attach it on, and how to cut the office blouse. So for the cutting of the blouse, for the cutting, I'm making use of this brown paper. Then this is a measurement tape. The scissors I'm going to use, the tape roll, the chalk, then the measurement I'm going to use in the cutting of the office blouse. So now we'll proceed on the cutting aspect. So for the cutting, I have to fold my paper into four. So if you are also using fabric like clothes or any material, crepe, be anyone, so you have to fold into four places, normal regular cutting. You see, I fold to equal places. But for us to be able to identify the wideness I want to use, so that the other clothes will not get waste. So now I'm making use of, for my length, I'm making use of I'm making use of 18 inches for the length. You can see this is for my 18 inches. This way, then the sewing allowance, I add 1 inches to it. So you can see like we have 1.5. I can still leave it uncut. Then for the folding aspect, so since the clothes will only fall above the hips, so I'll only add to my waistline. So now I'm making use of the biggest measurement here, which is 32 for my bust line. So 32 divided by 4 plus 9 is 10. You can see I have extra 11 inches for the one that will fall below the hips. So now I'm good to go with the cut, with the inputs of my measurement. So I will start from my back. So I'm making use of 12 inches. So that 12 I'll divide it into 2. It will give me 6. So this is 60 inches. Then for my armpit, I want to make use of 7 inches. But the clothes that I want to cut is the clothes that have, the clothes do not have a sleeve. So I'm going to reduce my armpit to 6 inches. So I do not want the openness of the armpit to be too wide. So I have to reduce it since it's not going to have a sleeve. Then I'll proceed to the bust. My bust, I'm making use of 32. So that is 32 divided by 4 plus 2, that is 10. So this is my 10 inches. Then to get my half length line, I have to go down from this here. I have to go down like 5 inches. So on this line, I'm going to place my waist. So my waist, I'm making use of 9 inches for my waist. Then on here, I'm going to add extra 1 inches to it. If you can remember, I make use of 10 for my bust. So for the one that I fall below the hip, so I'm making use of 11 inches. Yes, this is why my 11 is. Then I'm going to connect the lines together with my chalk. So from here, I'm going to cut my hand from the armpit. So after the whole process, then the next thing for me is to cut out the chalk area. You can see I've already cut out. Now I'm going for the neck. Okay, remember I said it's a bishop neck. So now for the wideness of my neck, I want to make use of 3 inches for the wideness. Then for the deepness of the back, I want to make use of 1 inches. I'm going to connect with the cutting from the back. So I have to remove the back from the front. So when it comes to the front, if you check the style, we have a button at the front of the clothes. So for me to achieve that button line, but before the button, I have to come down for my neck. So for the deepness of the front, I'm making use of 3 inches. Then from the 3 inches here, I want to go down by 4 inches for the button side. So I'm going to cut out for the neck first before I proceed to the button area. So for here now, I'm going to make a cut. So I'm making use of half inches for my cut up to this place, to this down part. So this is how the front cut is going to look like after the cutting. So now for me to be able to achieve that my bishop collar, then I have to join my shoulder together first of all. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine now to join my shoulder together. I'm done with my sewing. So after the sewing, this is how it's going to look like. So for this part now, we are going to replace it like the way we used to do for the shirt that have button. Remember I said this place is going to have a button. So for us to be able to achieve this place in particular, we have to measure from the neck down to this line. You can see we have like 4 inches, but if I want to cut out, not for me to be able to do that, I'm going to cut out like 5 inches. So I will add 1 inches to it. This is for the length of what we want to use, but I said we are going to make use of 5 inches for the length of what I want to use. So this is like more than 5 inches, so I'm going to reduce it. You see, so now I want to attach this to this side. One have to be at this side, then the other have to be on this side, so it have to overlay like this. So what you just have to do is just, this is the right side here, so you just have to put your sewing half, this have to come up by half inches. So for us to achieve that, you can just come to this side and make a knot here, then you come to this side also and make a knot. So these are the knot is going to look like. So what you just have to do, these have to be at this center like this, so like half inches. Then after the sewing, it will enter like this, so it will look like this. Then the other one also just have to pick it and sew. And after the sewing, it will also look like this. Then you can see that it will overlay. Then what you have to do at this side is just fold inside. So I will have used the machine to also sew this aspect, but due to the fact that I'm making use of paper, I know it's not as thick as fabric, so it might turn due to this center line there. So you just have to follow the sewing process I'm talking. Just have to sew like this. Then when you reach here, this center just have to sew this and leave the remaining one. Then you take the other one part also, just put it like this. Let it of the same length, just sew in kind of zebra sewing like this. So just have to make this one to overlay. So just sew till it reach end of it. You can see this place overlay at each other. So when you now turn it inside, see that it will now look like this after the sewing. So this also will look like this after the sewing. You can see this is the way it will look like. Then you can see this side will actually go in by itself after the sewing, so I can be able to cover up for this side. But since I'm using brown paper, that's I'm trying to make my illustration to be more clearer, so it will look at like this at the outside. So this is how it's going to look like at the outside. So this has already entered, so this is how it's going to look like. So now you can now take one pieces out of the old, so it will overlay like this here. Now on this part is where you put your buttonholes, and this is where you attach your button. After the attachment of this together, the one that remain at the top like this, so you can try to cut it off. You can try to cut it off. And so this is how it's going to look like. Then for the bishop collar, you have to measure for the round of the neck for us to get the accuracy of the neck that I want to cut. So round, so that is 16. So now for us to be able to achieve that bishop neck, you have to take your, if you are making use of fabric, you take your fabric. I want to fast. Yeah. For the bishop neck, I've already said it's 16. So we are going to measure for the 16. So this is the 16 here. So this is for the 16. Then for the wideness, I'm making use of 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to cut it out. So this is for the 16. So I'm going to add 2 inches sewing allowance to it, so to make it 18. So I'm going to cut it. So this for it. Then this that you cut out, you have to fold it into two like this. It has to be folded into two like this. This side will have been sewed. So I've already sewed this side, you sew the mat, then you turn this, it will be into folding like this. Then after the folding, you go for the center. The use of your scissors, not for the center. So it will look like it. Then you now take your cloth. So you started with here. So this is already attached there. These also have been already attached there. Then you started your sewing like this. You started from the angle. So you started from this angle, started sewing all around, all around, all around to the last of the edge of the cloth. So after the whole sewing, this is how the neck is going to look like. So this is the neck we call bishop collar. This neck is what we call bishop collar. So that's the end of today's class on how to cut and sew simple blouse with bishop collar and the button at the front of the blouse. We have come to the end of today's class. I was able to show you guys on how to cut a simple office blouse with bishop collar. So if you have any question concerning the class or the previous class, you can drop your questions on the comment section on how to sew, on how to cut the style I just finished now. Then here is a medium to pass this information to you that we have a free fashion training program that is going on Age Fashion Hub. So if you want to join, you can click on the link below. And we would like to thank our partner who make that training possible, Women with Free Fund. So for those that participate in the program, we are going to issue them a certificate at the end of the program. So we come to the end of today's class. See you next time, next class. Bye bye.